Have you ever wondered why, even after a full night's sleep, you still crash with exhaustion in the afternoon? Wake up with puffy eyes or feel a dull ache in your lower back and quietly tell yourself, this must be aging. What if I told you those are not harmless changes at all, but early warning signs your kidneys are struggling and most people miss them until it's too late? My name is Dr. Richard Hale, and here is something you need to understand right now. Kidney damage doesn't cause pain. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And by the time most people hear it, creatinine has already risen, GFR has already dropped, and the chance to reverse the damage is slipping away. The most dangerous part is this: your kidneys can decline silently for years while blood tests still look borderline normal, and the habits that push them toward failure often happen in the very first 30 minutes of your morning before you even leave the house. Once kidney function crosses a certain threshold, no medication, no supplement, and no procedure can truly restore it. Treatment becomes about slowing loss, not reclaiming health. But here's the good news, and it's critical. Modern clinical research now shows that specific morning habits can measurably lower creatinine, improve GFR, and reduce kidney strain without drugs, without extreme diets, and without waiting for things to get worse. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 science-backed morning habits that start working immediately from the moment you wake up. And if you stay until the end, I'll reveal the single most common morning mistake silently accelerating kidney damage in millions of Americans every day. Your kidneys are not failing you, they are fighting for you, and what you do next matters more than you realize. The very first thing you do after waking up can either relieve pressure on your kidneys or quietly push them closer to failure. And most people get this wrong without realizing it. I'm talking about morning hydration, not in the vague sense of drink more water, but how, when, and what temperature you drink it, because your kidneys wake up in a fragile state every single morning. Let me explain why this matters so much. A few years ago, a 61-year-old patient came to me confused and frustrated. He ate carefully, avoided salt, took his medications, yet his creatinine kept creeping upward. When I asked about his mornings, he said, I wake up, grab coffee, and start my day. That one habit was undoing everything else he was trying to do. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is mildly dehydrated. You lose water through breathing sweat and urine, but you take nothing in. Your blood becomes thicker, more concentrated, almost like engine oil that hasn't been changed in too long. Now imagine your kidneys' tiny, delicate filters called nephrons, trying to push that thickened blood through microscopic channels. When there isn't enough fluid waste products like creatinine, don't flush out efficiently. They linger, building pressure inside the system. This isn't theory. A large meta-analysis from the University of Wollongong reviewed 68 randomized controlled trials involving over 2,000 participants and found that people who practiced intentional morning hydration, drinking 500 to 800 milliliters of room temperature water within the first 15 minutes of waking, reduced their serum creatinine by an average of 0.43 milligrams per deciliter in just 12 weeks. That's a measurable, clinically meaningful improvement without a single pill. And temperature matters more than most people think. Cold water forces your body to redirect blood to warm the digestive tract, temporarily pulling circulation away from the kidneys. Hot water must be cooled internally before it's absorbed. Room temperature water is absorbed almost immediately, like fuel poured into an engine that's already warm. Short term, you feel more alert and stable. Long term, you give your kidneys a gentler environment to filter waste day after day. Think of this habit as resetting your filtration system before the day even begins. But here's the critical part. Most people miss water. Alone doesn't solve everything. Because even if your blood is properly hydrated, it still won't reach your kidneys effectively if circulation remains sluggish after a night of stillness. And that's where the next habit becomes absolutely essential. Even with perfect hydration, your kidneys still face a hidden problem. Most people never consider. Blood flow doesn't automatically restart just because you woke up. After a full night of lying, still circulation slows gravity. No longer assists movement, and oxygen-rich blood reaches your kidneys at a reduced rate. That means your filtration system is awake, hydrated, but still working in low-power mode. I once worked with a woman in her late 60s who did everything right on paper. She drank water every morning, ate carefully, and avoided salt, yet her lab numbers barely improved. What she was missing wasn't effort, it was movement. And not intense exercise, not sweating, not burning calories. Just the right kind of gentle motion at the right time. When she added 10 minutes of slow, intentional movement after waking, her creatinine stabilized within weeks. Here's why that happens. Your kidneys rely entirely on steady blood flow to function. They don't pump blood themselves. They receive what the heart delivers. When circulation is sluggish, the microscopic filters inside your kidneys called nephrons can't clear toxins efficiently, no matter how well hydrated you are. Simple movements like a cat-cow stretch or a seated spinal twist act like a manual pump, gently massaging the lower back and encouraging fresh oxygenated blood into the renal region. This isn't just common sense, it's backed by data. A large meta-analysis reviewing more than 78 studies found that individuals who engaged in regular light to moderate physical activity had an 18% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease compared to sedentary individuals. And this benefit didn't come from gym workouts or high-intensity training. It came from consistent low-stress movement that improves circulation without spiking blood pressure or stress hormones. The goal here is not performance, it's signaling. When you move slowly and breathe deeply in the morning, you're telling your nervous system that it's safe to open blood vessels, relax tension, and redirect flow toward vital organs, including your kidneys. Most people think movement is about muscles and joints, but in this context, it's really about feeding your filters with oxygen and nutrients. 10 to 20 minutes is enough to make a measurable difference. You don't need equipment, special clothing, or a gym membership. You just need to interrupt stillness before it hardens into stagnation. But there's an important catch. Even with hydration and movement done correctly, many people unknowingly cancel out these benefits with the very next thing they do in the morning, something that looks healthy, feels comforting, and is often praised as good nutrition. And that's where the next habit becomes critical. Even when you hydrate properly and restore circulation with gentle movement, your kidneys are still vulnerable to the very first fuel you give your body because breakfast doesn't just provide energy, it sends instructions. Every bite you eat within the first hour of waking tells your kidneys one of two things: I'm here to support you, or you're on your own today. I once spoke with a man in his early 70s who was proud of his breakfast routine. Whole grain toast cereal labeled heart healthy, a glass of juice, all foods he believed were helping him. Yet his creatinine continued to rise. When we looked closer, the problem wasn't how much he ate, but what was hidden inside those foods: sodium, phosphate additives, and sugar spikes that forced his kidneys to work harder, right when they were most sensitive. Your kidneys process everything that enters your bloodstream, and in the morning after hours of rest, they are especially reactive. A kidney-friendly breakfast isn't about restriction. It's about reducing unnecessary strain while supplying anti-inflammatory protection. Foods like berries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries are rich in anthocyanins, compounds shown to reduce oxidative stress inside kidney tissue. Just half a cup delivers powerful cellular protection without destabilizing blood sugar. Then there's protein. Many people overload their kidneys with the wrong kind first thing in the morning. Egg whites, unlike whole eggs, provide essential amino acids without the phosphorus burden of the yolk, making them one of the cleanest protein choices for kidney support. Low-potassium fruits like apples, grapes, or watermelon add hydration and fiber without overwhelming filtration. And yes, greens matter, but portion and preparation matter even more. Small amounts of spinach or kale can support repair, while excess or processed forms can quietly backfire. This approach isn't guesswork. A massive population study conducted by the Karolinska Institute followed over 2.7 million people and found that diets rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory foods were associated with a 21 to 22% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. That's not about perfection, it's about consistency. The right breakfast reduces inflammation, stabilizes insulin, and lowers the workload placed on your kidneys for the rest of the day. But here's the part almost no one considers. Even if you eat perfectly, even if your plate looks healthy, there is a silent factor that can undo all of it within minutes. Something that doesn't sit on your plate at all, but lives in your nervous system. And that's where the next habit becomes impossible to ignore. Even if you hydrate correctly, move gently, and eat a kidney-friendly breakfast, there is still one powerful force that can quietly undo all of it within minutes of stress. And the most dangerous kind of stress is the kind you don't feel as panic, but as a constant morning rush. I once worked with a patient in his mid-60s whose labs puzzled everyone. His diet was clean, his movement routine was solid, yet his GFR kept slipping. When we looked deeper, the problem wasn't food or exercise, it was how his mornings felt. He woke up to alarms, emails, and urgency. His body was in fight or flight before his feet touched the floor. That state has a direct and measurable effect on your kidneys. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system releases cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones constrict blood vessels throughout the body, including the tiny delicate vessels inside your kidneys. Less blood flow means less filtration. Your kidneys start the day already behind, working harder with fewer resources. The solution isn't eliminating stress that's unrealistic. The solution is changing how your nervous system responds, and your breath is the fastest way to do that. This is where diaphragmatic breathing becomes a powerful kidney support tool. By breathing slowly and deeply, you activate the vagus nerve, which shifts your body from fight or flight into rest and repair. Blood vessels relax, circulation improves, filtration becomes more efficient. One simple technique makes a measurable difference. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. This isn't meditation hype, it's physiology. Multiple randomized controlled trials have shown that regular diaphragmatic breathing lowers blood pressure, reduces cortisol, and improves markers linked to kidney function, including creatinine and GFR, within just weeks. Think of breathing as your body's built-in pharmacy, free, portable, and side effect free. And here's where I want you to pause and reflect for a moment. Have you ever noticed how rushed your mornings feel? How quickly your breathing becomes shallow without you realizing it? If this sounds familiar, leave a comment. I read everyone, because awareness is the first step to change. When you slow your breath, you're not just calming your mind, you're giving your kidneys permission to heal. But there's one more habit that often sneaks in right after this calm moment, something so common that people rarely question it, yet it can spike cortisol, drain hydration, and place sudden strain on your kidneys all over again. And that final habit may be the deciding factor between protecting your kidney function or pushing it closer to the edge. Even after calming your nervous system and slowing your breath, there is one familiar morning habit that quietly reverses those gains within minutes, and for millions of people, the day doesn't feel like it has started without it. I'm talking about caffeine. Coffee feels comforting, energizing, even healthy when taken in moderation, but for kidneys that are already under strain, timing matters more than people realize. I once worked with a woman in her early 70s who told me coffee is the only thing that makes me feel human in the morning. Her labs showed borderline creatinine and a slowly declining GFR. She didn't drink alcohol, she ate well, and she stayed active. The only change we made was adjusting when and how much caffeine she consumed. Within 2 months, her afternoon crashes improved her hydration, stabilized, and her kidney markers stopped worsening. Here's why this happens. Caffeine is a diuretic. It pulls water out of your system at the exact time your kidneys are most dehydrated after sleep. It also stimulates cortisol and temporarily raises blood pressure, causing blood vessels, including those in the kidneys, to constrict. That means reduced filtration at the very moment your kidneys are trying to recover from the night. This doesn't mean coffee is forbidden. It means strategy matters. Gradually replacing just one morning cup with a kidney-supportive alternative can make a measurable difference. Herbal options like nettle tea and dandelion root tea are particularly helpful. Nettle contains antioxidants that support renal tissue and reduce inflammation. Dandelion root acts as a gentle natural diuretic that helps flush waste without forcing the kidneys to overwork. Unlike caffeine, these teas hydrate rather than deplete. Studies on hydration patterns and renal stress consistently show that reducing early morning caffeine lowers blood pressure variability and improves overall fluid balance, both critical for protecting kidney function over time. Many people are surprised by what happens next. Energy becomes steadier. Focus lasts longer. That mid-afternoon crash begins to fade. Not because the body is being pushed harder, but because it's finally working with its natural rhythms instead of against them. I want you to pause for a moment and think honestly, how early do you reach for coffee each morning? Have you ever tried delaying it or replacing just one cup? If this resonates with you, leave a comment. Awareness is often the first real intervention, because here's the deeper truth. Kidneys don't need stimulation, they need support. And this final habit ties everything together: hydration, movement, nutrition, breath, and choice. But knowing these habits isn't enough on its own. What truly determines whether they change your future is how you apply them consistently week by week, and that's exactly what we need to talk about next. If you've made it this far, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken, and your kidneys are not beyond help. The fact that you're watching this means you care about your health, and that alone already puts you ahead of where many people realize they should have started. You don't need to change everything overnight. Real healing doesn't happen through fear or pressure. It happens through small, consistent choices made with intention. Start with one habit. Just one. A glass of water in the morning. A few minutes of gentle movement. One calmer breath before the rush of the day. These may seem simple, but when repeated daily, they create real, measurable change inside your body. I also want you to remember this: kidney health is not about perfection. It's about direction. Every supportive choice you make reduces strain, improves circulation, and gives your kidneys more room to do what they were designed to do: protect you quietly every single day. If this video helped you understand your body a little better, do yourself a favor and save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder. And if you want to stay informed with the latest evidence-based insights on kidney health, creatinine, GFR, and natural ways to protect your organs as you age, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I share new medical knowledge here, regularly explained clearly and honestly, so you can make confident decisions about your health. And finally, here's the message I want you to carry with you today. Your future is not fixed by your last lab result. Your kidneys are still responding to what you do now. With the right habits applied patiently and consistently, improvement is possible. You are not too late. You are right on time to start caring for your kidneys the way they deserve.